So hi, Renee.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Renee, thank you so much for taking the time to share with us. Um, First off, why don't you just share a little bit about yourself?
Oh, sure. So I am the wife of Clifton who does the announcements, and we have two kids, Ty and Cole.
Great, great. So can you just tell us a little bit about your parenting journey and some of the challenges you've had as you parent, especially with your youngest son, Cole?
Sure. So we're new parents trying to figure things out, and then we realized that both our children, Ty and Cole, have food allergies. But with Cole, our youngest one, he had more severe allergies than Ty. So um, around 3 months, we noticed that he's already starting to develop eczema all over his body, his face. And as we started to introduce solid foods, it just got worse, where certain reactions to food that we introduced him to would either cause hives or wheezing. We would have to take him to urgent care, visits to the ER where they're giving him steroid injections to get his immune system to calm down. I'm carrying his limp body in the car as we're driving to Queens, and my oldest one, Ty, is next to me. It's just been a crazy year and a half of scary situations with dealing with allergies.
What have been some of the most challenging parts of this season as you've gone through this?
Yeah, so it's definitely a mixture of things. As a mom, you can't help but feel guilty for thinking you caused this somehow. Like when I was pregnant, I drank too much soda because I did. I drank a lot of Coke, and maybe I shouldn't have. But I know that's not the issue, but you can't help but it comes to your mind, and there's a lot of fear, the unknowns, waiting to get that call from the sitter saying Cole's got a bad reaction and we have to rush him to the hospital. It's just been physically, mentally draining and exhausting. You're always feeling kind of like you're on edge, just waiting for the next allergy reaction. And even now I have this huge regimen of preparing his food in a certain way, which takes me until sometimes 11 o'clock at night to do. So it's just been a lot of work.
How have you found strength in your relationship with God, and what have you learned about God through this experience?
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is, seeing your child suffer and feeling helpless, like you can't do anything to help them, feeling like you caused it, maybe with the soda. But I think I'm learning to lay it all down, give it to God, trust Him. And I do feel like He's kind of doing this to ensure this close relationship with Him. I know definitely if I didn't have these struggles, I wouldn't be praying as desperately on my knees in front of his crib at night. I wouldn't be journaling as often as I do. I probably would actually not really spend as much time with God because almost like I would have no need, because everything's going well. But I think just learning to trust Him, even when I know He could just take it away, like God, just heal it in Jesus' name. But trusting that there's a reason and a purpose.
It's good. It's good. What have you learned about God and His character during this season?
I think as moms, we get extremely exhausted. We run on fumes all the time. But now as I look back, because this started almost a year ago, there's never been a time where He didn't pull through. He didn't get us through it. He was able to help Cole in whatever situation. And I was like, wow, you were there every single time. And you forget that in the moment, but looking back, He definitely was. So yeah, I think remembering those times, it's definitely helping to build the or strengthen my faith.
That's so good. That's so good. And I think sometimes we often feel guilty for having those doubts and those questions, but
Yeah.
I think God invites us to have that and to wrestle through that. I think that is what one of the things that does strengthen our faith is when we come to Him with those questions. That's really good. Do you have any encouragement for people who are in a season right now where they're facing something similar like you, and they're asking why God are you doing this? Why is this happening? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would say kind of like you said, it's okay to be angry and go through the emotions or be frustrated or sad. I think it's human. And I think, you know, he invites us to dialogue with him. He takes any opportunity to, he's like, yeah, come and talk to me about it. And I feel like that's okay to do. It's okay to question, like you said. But at the same time, I do feel like uh, when you're going through it, even though it seems like you're just surviving it rather than thriving, um, it's good to remember that God is doing a work in us, and maybe we can't see it in the moment because we're just so overwhelmed. But He is teaching us so many things, whether it's our to strengthen, our faith and trust in Him. It's teaching us empathy for others that will go through other situations like this. It's definitely going to strengthen our muscles as far as trusting Him and getting uncomfortable and of the unknown. A lot of times we want to just be in control. So I think all that suffering that we do endure
Mhm.
is definitely a good thing, although it's hard to see right now. And I mean, I'm still going through it. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be saying this maybe like the next time he has a reaction. I should just like replay this and remind myself. But I also feel like, and I hope that he's also doing something in Cole, that he is giving Cole the endurance and the strength as he physically has to go through all of these challenges. Cole, God is doing a work in Cole too, and just reminding myself that it's not necessarily a bad thing, that it can be used for his good. So that would be my encouragement.
That's so good, Renee. Thank you so much for sharing and being so honest and vulnerable with your what you've been going through. I think it's going to bless many, many, many people.